What's up, people? It's YourTotalWarMaster, and this is going to be a video where we're going to be talking about the 5 possible future Total War titles. It might be a bit subjective. It might be, kind of objective. It's up to you, to, of course, tell me if I did a good job or not. Make sure to like, subscribe. You can comment down your feedback. You can join me on Discord. You can join me on Facebook. You can support me on Patreon if you want to. And yeah, I think let's go into this video and see what are my top 5 ideas for future Total Wars. So at number 5 we have World War One Total War, or the Great War Total War, something like that. I'm not sure how exactly they would be called, but I feel like it's it's probably the last human conflict in the timeline that would actually still be able to be represented in a Total War game, because I feel like World War II would probably not be able to be represented in a Total War game. But I think World War One is like the last one that still can be. Of course, if you don't know, there's a mod for Napoleon that allows you to play the World War One era. And basically, I think it would have to sacrifice maybe a bit of realism for the sake of gameplay. So you don't really want that, you just have a lines of trenches and just not doing anything basically. That of course won't work, but I still feel like it could be a great idea for a Total War game. Economy would be a problem. Alliances would actually, I feel like that alliances would need to be extremely important and extremreally responsive as well. If you ally with someone, they actually do freaking fight the enemy, not like in some Total War games when if you ally they just don't really do anything. So yeah, I think Total War the Great War, whatever that will be called, is a good idea for number 5. And yeah, let's go to the next idea. In number 4 we have another era that has been represented in a mod. Medieval 2 has the mod, Italian Wars, which I think again are a very interesting conflict in the human history. It's kind of on the cusp of the Middle Ages to New Ages. It's it is basically New Age, historically looking by, because you do have pike and shot and you have cavalry. It's kind of in between era between medieval fighting and modern fighting, if you ask me. But anyways, it is represented in a mod, which is a good mod. But again, the same as for the World War One era, I would like for it to represent it in a real game. Now the map of course wouldn't be as big, but still it should be very detailed, and I think the Pannonian Peninsula has enough of basically mountains, enough of rivers, enough of everything that everything would be still very much interesting. And of course it's surrounded by water because it's a peninsula, so yeah. Of course, I think the main fighting was kind of happening in the north of Italy, so I guess Sicily. I don't think Sicily was as involved. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think it's a very interesting time period. Probably, not looking for too long of a time span, maybe just a few years, 10 years or something like that. But yeah, I think that would be a great idea for a Total War game. And let's go to the third one. Coming is number 3 is Alexander Total War. I feel like this would be such an epic time period to go to. Now of course, again, Rome 1 has the DLC Alexander, which basically tells the story, but I think that is, even though it's not a bad expansion, it still feels very, very, very much bare bone. The map is kind of trash. There are only 2 factions, which is kind of sad. What I would like to see is to start off before Alexander, to start off with his father, and then basically, maybe still subjugating the Greeks, and after subjugating the rest of the Greece, then going to attack the Persians. And I believe that, there were not only the Persians, right? There were still other factions that Alexander was fighting. He also got Egypt, he got, all of Greece, he got, etc, etc, and then he went all the way to India. And what I would like to see is to actually those factions to be represented, not just to be rebels. I feel like that would be an amazing campaign to make it diverse, because at one point you're fighting the Greeks, and the other part you're basically fighting in India, which is completely different gameplay. As said, I wanted to be also before his reign and after his reign. You know, maybe also, you know, for some alternate history after he dies. Maybe that could be like an event, or maybe even a DLC where, like, you know, after Alexander, what happens after his, you know, empire divides. So I think there's so many possibilities. Now, coming in as number 2 is probably my most controversial take. I will go for Warhammer 40k Total War. Now, this might be a bit controversial now, but it's not as impossible because, you know, of course, Total War works with Games Workshop, so that's basically the owner of both Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. Now, I'm not a fan of Warhammer, but I do love my Warhammer 40k. I feel like it's much more epic, you know, like Warhammer feels like more dreamy, more, you know, stuff like that, but Warhammer 40k is just fucking action, gore, and darkness, and I freaking love it. My first game that I played on this was Dawn of War 1, and it was fantastic. Dawn of War 2 is fantastic. Dawn of War 3 is kind of shit, but it's still fine. Now, I think this would be such a cool experience. Just imagine, like, freaking Terminators fighting, I don't know, orcs and defilers and demon gods from Chaos and Necrons and Dark Eldar, and, you know, so many cool factions, and Tyranids. Let's not forget about Tyranids. There are cool factions, there are cool armies. I think the whole concept would be absolutely fantastic. I just have, like, no words how cool it would be. I would be so hyped for this game. Now, I'm not sure how the map would look, but maybe just, you know, go for a planet, or go for even what could be done is multiple planetary systems, things like that. Just imagine how much depth could be in this. Like, just imagine that you have like 5 planets or something that you can jump from one to another, and there are multiple provinces in the planet. Just freaking so epic. But there's one more thing that I would be more excited about, and that is, and you probably guessed it, if you know me, you guessed it, it's Medieval 3 Total War. Now, it is maybe a bit nostalgia, it is maybe a bit, I don't know, just wishing, I don't know, whatever. But Medieval 2 is the best Total War game that's ever been made. Now, talking about Medieval 3 Total War, I do feel kind of also scared, because if they fuck up Medieval 3, they can just close the Creative Assembly and just, like, start producing Total War games, because the backlash would be so... It's a high risk, high reward. It's gonna sell like a motherfucker if it performs well. If it does bad, if it does poorly, it is going to be the end of Total War as we know it, because the backlash was gonna be so freaking big that's just impossible to comprehend. Now, of course, it has been already done, so what would I want from Medieval 3? Just from campaign or from time base wise. I would want it to start maybe even a bit earlier than Medieval 2 starts. Maybe like in the 900s or something like that, and go all the way up to where Medieval 2 ends. I feel like the ending of Medieval 2 is good, you know, kind of the start of the colonialism. Oh, I said that, colonialism. And I think that's a good start. So maybe just expand 100 or 200 years before the start of Medieval 2, and end it pretty much in the same way as Medieval 2 started. I would like to have not too many factions of the same idea. So I don't want 7 factions in England, because, you know, England has not been yet united. Or I don't want too many regions in Italy. You know, Italy had so many factions. I want the main ones. I don't want oversaturation faction-wise, but I want them to be memorable. And I feel like if Medieval 3 will be a success, it needs to emulate Medieval 2, but expand on it and make it better. I wouldn't mind a Medieval 2 remastered as well, just to, you know, give that out. But yeah, I think that's the best Total War game that could happen. And this is it. Hopefully you guys agree with at least 1 or 2 of my ideas. Of course, you don't have to, but I feel like this is what I feel. This is what I feel. And the last one, as I said, is the last one is like hard, because if they do it wrong, it's gonna be a disaster. If they do it right, it's gonna be freaking amazing. And keep those damn hot seats in. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to join the pleb army. with liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. Join me on Discord, join me on Facebook, you can support me on Patreon, as I said. These are my Patreons, that current and past ones. Thanks for watching. Until next time, as always, fuck off.